John, this is, as I mentioned earlier, this is the one thing you said Ryan Braun shouldn't do. Your reaction to this statement being released and not him showing up without a pre-prepared statement and just speaking to his local media in Milwaukee.
Yeah, well, Ian, like we discussed during Hall of Fame weekend, you alluded to earlier, and what Mark was just saying, I agree 100%. I mean, there was a lot of couched statements in here. It went back to the injury. It stressed it was a short time. It didn't get specific on what drugs were taken. And, you know, I think in a lot of ways this was a misstep. And I'll give him this. I do like that he apologized to the guy, the delivery guy, and to his teammates. I agree with that. But what's going to be really interesting next is, well, how's MLB going to react? You know, I mean, the first, if you're going to issue a statement, which I wouldn't advise doing as a first step, get MLB on board. Have them issue a joint statement saying how happy they are with this statement that Ryan's trying to get his life together, trying to set the record straight. But I didn't see that. But they're going to be asked for a statement. The commissioner is going to be asked the question, what do you think of this? Same thing is, if all this in the statement is true, answer the questions. Sit down with you guys, sit down with your local press who speak directly to your fans day in and day out and who have listened to you over the years. Answer those questions. That's a good first step. There's a lot of tricky holes and interesting language in this from my perspective.
John, I don't understand why it's so hard for a guy to sit down and essentially bare his soul, even if you say something that maybe, you know, is misconstrued. As long as you have, you know, as long as you show contrition, I don't understand why guys wouldn't just, hey, I'm caught, I'm out. Now it's time to just open up and help actually go about helping baseball solve the problem of PEDs. Why is it so hard for guys to make that move, to step out there on that ledge?
Could not agree more. I mean, look, we live in a society that loves to forgive. You just got to mean it, and you got to be sincere. But to your point, I mean, if Ryan's reaction is to stand up and sit in front of the press and answer those hard questions, say, look, I screwed up. I fell into this trap. I did things I shouldn't have done, and I hope one day I can make it up for you. You know, what I would love to see is see his face say, look, I'm a really great ball player, and I am an MVP caliber ball player, and you just watch. Stick with me. I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to play clean, and I'm going to show the world what kind of ball player I am. And I you know, can't begin to apologize enough, et cetera. People will react positively to that. People forgive, but they need to feel sincerity, and issuing a statement that is a little bit couched is not a great way to do that, in my view.
John, you've been doing this for a long time, and John Maroon, Public Relations Director for Cal Ripken. He was a longtime PR director for the Baltimore Orioles, here with us on ESPN Radio. The biggest difference in releasing the statement from a public relations standpoint and just sitting in front of the cameras and answering questions without the script, how big of a difference is it from an image and marketing perspective for Ryan Braun doing it this way with the pre-release statement or compared to just speaking from the heart in front of the cameras?
Well, it's enormous. And I think, you know, what it rings to fans, and you see it on social media now, the reaction's been very swift by the fans, and it's been very judgmental by the fans. And it's simple, you know, if it doesn't feel sincere, if it doesn't feel real, if we can't see you and you're not willing to answer questions, you guys have been on for a few minutes since the statement came out, and you have about 30 questions. So and they're good questions and they're real ones. So you got to be able to do that. The difference is night and day. Now, I will say this. If there's a bigger plan in place behind this, and tomorrow Ryan calls a meeting with the Milwaukee press and he sits down and he does all the painstaking efforts, okay, I get it. You want to issue a statement because you want to get your words out on paper, but then I'm going to face the fire. I'm going to face the music. You have to be willing to do that. I'm not necessarily getting the sense that that's going to happen, but I would certainly urge him, if all that he said is true, to do that. You got to face the fire, and I think Mark alluded to it earlier, in order to get on with your life and move on, have any chance of reforming your reputation and your career.
One of the best PR men in the business, John Maroon, here on ESPN Radio with some advice for Ryan Braun, as Ryan Braun did exactly what he said he shouldn't do, and that is release a statement. John, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for joining us on ESPN Radio.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night, guys.
You too.